Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Ma.K Man at YouTube with another paint review looking at the Mr. Hobby Mr. Color Lascivus line, which is 3 clear colours relating to blushing up and the anime tones of flesh, and 2 flesh solid colours which we haven't been able to get our hands on. Though to save on effort, I've already got an access to quite a bit of flesh tones to blend together. So we shall use these clears on what we already have in our existing stock to save a bit of money. And we're also going to blush up a couple of figures along the way. The paints are listed as a clear as well as an overcoat. And we can see that it is quite thick. I'm very excited about the brown tan tone. The other one is a red blush. We missed out on the orange. Some test spoons have also been prepared. We have the fleshes applied down on these 2 3D printed figures. The left more tanned, the right more pale. I'd like to give more variation to the colour skin tone. So I'll drop in a stainless steel ball bearing and shake it to mix the pigments. Failing that, just stir it sufficiently for about 15 to 20 seconds. She'll pour it in a 0.5mm airbrush. 0.3 will also work. And she'll mix it 50-50 paint and lacquer thinner. Just a quick line on a bit of piece of paper. And it is extremely subtle, allowing other detail to go over it quite nicely. This transparent paint does not really work a lot like a candy or a clear coat, as it is extremely subtle and only works at 1 layer that requires drying before a second can be applied. We went extremely thick on a smooth surface such as a spoon, which did not work out as well, and immediately built up right in the center and had a massive drop. So that is something to look out for sure. On the bright side, due to the sheer subtleness of the build-up of pigment, your silvers, your whites and your very delicate flesh tones that are far too pale actually builds up quite nicely to a blush or a tan colour. Where a single coat is applied, I'm actually extremely impressed. Once built up wet in multiple coats, then trouble begins. Here are our spoons, and at first with the dots in the centre, that's from the second and third coat building up, and dripping immediately to the centre. It is slow drying, so the build-up lands there. If it built up in the folds of facial detail and whatnot, that's not too bad. I cannot complain, but it can damage the paint. Having a look at the flesh tan and the light blush flesh, around where the build-up and the ugly drop is, the subtle pinkness over the flesh looks quite nice actually. And then having a look at our figure before we paint the rest of the clothing, the legs as well as the face, I focused the blush around the cheeks and the ears. It's pretty decent, and with a bit of colouring she's going to be quite nice. Excited to test out the brown. Same mixing ratio, testing the brown. It's kind of a peach blush, a lot darker than the red. Did 2 coats, a lot finer than the red, orange. It does come out very orange as well, but the tan flesh tone is absolutely wonderful, lays down very smooth, but to my surprise did not pull like the other one. Most likely because I had better control and anticipated what was going on. The colour just really pops beautifully, and the control of the gradient really works. The figures that I'm airbrushing, the schoolgirl and the man bust, is 1/20th. very small, normally hard to shade and gradient with. Here are the reverse side of the spoon, starting with the tan, and you can see how it shades on over two colours, and you can still see the definition and the difference in the top tip tan part. Same with the blush and flesh, going on to white, primer and silver. This was quite a privilege and enjoyable to paint with. Here are the two figures. The left is the legs and faces being shaded with the red. To the right is the old man with the brown. And they're both looking pretty good. Super happy how the old man came out. The hand painting itself is a tad rough, but that would come together with a flat coat and a couple of sludge washes. This will be applied to a Mushing Krieger base. So the smaller figures, even up to 35th, this stuff will work a treat, and with the old man being more of a military than a anime-esque thing, works quite nicely. Now we've got the entire layout of all the spoons, and you can see how on the tan it gets quite orange or dark skin toned, and on the lighter peachy flesh it's more orange. Interesting tones on the white, grey and silver, being almost a rust streak or rustic. Probably have interesting results if you're doing some sci-fi metal rusting, post-apocalyptic bits and pieces, but very easy to apply, fairly subtle in one coat, and you can see here it's quite heavy, with an example of the figures finally with a matte coat. Pretty impressed. We'll definitely use it on flesh tones, both standard military or humanoid as well as anime. I've had a final look at the flesh colours which have finally come in at the hobby shop. The peach is excellent, but the flesh itself is extremely pale. I'm not too sure how useful that is, but it just gives us a bigger, broad range of fleshes to play with the existing Mr. Hobby range, as well as other brands. Do remember these notes that it's a slow drying product. It's very thin, a single light coat, build up after drying, and you'll be thoroughly rewarded, not with the drip in the first experiment. Thank you very much for watching. As always, until next time, stay tuned for further content, reviews and paint demonstrations. Catch you guys next time.